All right, everybody, it's late in the day on a Wednesday. Lacrosse is over, and let's figure this cosine, sine, and tangent piece out. Now, in class today, we worked on the unit circle, and we started playing around with, you saw this unit circle image for the first time, and you saw me write down, at some point we wrote down something about sine, cosine, and tangent, and I want to try to firm that up a little bit. So I'm going to scroll down underneath here. There's some explanations in this that we can look at if we need to, but I want to focus on underneath this unit circle, the words cosine and sine that I have here and here, where I have it described in your notes from, this would have been Wednesday's class. The x-coordinate of the point is the cosine. So if I say cosine of 60, what I mean is if I have a 60-degree angle, let's call that 60 degrees, and it touches the unit circle. Remember, we have this circle that goes the whole way around. It touches the unit circle right here where I'm making the arrow. Then if I make that right triangle like I want you to, what we're saying is that cosine is the x-coordinate, so the distance from here to here is cosine of 60 degrees. Now that's going to be some sort of number, right? It's going to be a decimal, probably less than 1. If we use the sine, that's the y-coordinate. So this distance from here to here, the height of that blue dot is the sine of 60 degrees. So we can still use the SOHCAHTOA that we talked about before. Underneath it, I have this piece right here. You may want to pause the video and write this down. The first two bits you already have. The sine of theta equals opposite over hypotenuse. The cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. That's the SO, and that's the CA. Right now, for the TOA, that's the tangent. Now, we normally say opposite over adjacent, right? So TOA. But when it comes to tangent in some precise values, you can also do something a little bit different, and it's a little bit out of the ordinary, so I want to point this out, that the tangent of theta is the sine of theta over the cosine of theta, or the y value divided by the x value. So if you could figure out, back over here, if you need the tangent of 60, I'm going to switch colors to pink. If you needed the tangent of 60, what you would do is you would find the y value and divide it by the x value. Now, the y value is how high it is, and how high it is the sine of 60. And you would want to divide that by the x value, and the x value in this case is cosine of 60. Now, that feels like a hassle that we have to do both of those, and then we have to divide them. So we can normally figure this out quite a bit easier. If you think about what we really did, we're just finding the y value and dividing it by the x value. And if we're dealing with triangles like 30, 60, 90 or 45, 45, 90, we should be able to have those side lengths pretty easily. And the division works out all right. So I'm going to kick over to Get More Math. I'm going to really keep an eye on, well, sine and cosine are exactly what we said they were on Wednesday. The tangent's a little bit different, so let's check out a few examples. I want you to watch as many as you need and rewatch if you need to try to get the correct answers on your Get More Math tasks. And you're going to see me kick away from screenshots and go to Get More Math and actually type in answers, and hopefully I get the right answers. So tangent is y over x. I want to remember that. So let's kick over to Get More Math. I've got a slate of 5 questions here in the assignment. There's a number of different assignments that we're in. The one that I'm in is the hardest of the two. You'll know it's hard because it has, well, this doesn't make it hard, but I'm telling you, if you see these 5 squares up here, you're going to know you're in the harder of the 2 assignments dealing with sine, cosine, and tangent. So let's check it out. So I got cosine of 30. So I'm going to start off with the unit circle that we dealt with the other day. I'm going to draw an angle that's about 30 degrees. I'm going to make a mark where that line touches the unit circle, and I'm going to come straight down. All right, I'm going to come straight down, make a 90-degree angle, and then all I'm going to do is redraw that so that it's a little bit neater. You don't actually have to redraw it, but I'm just going to do that for the sake of the example. And then because we know this is a unit circle with 1 as the radius the whole way around, 1 or in some cases -1, that tells me that the diagonal, which is right here, is a 1. Okay. So I remember my 30, 60, 90-degree triangle. I remember that the shortest side's across from 30 degrees. And then if I double it, I get to 1. So the relationship used to be x, 2x, and x times the square root of 3, just as a reminder. So if 2x equals 1, well then x is 1/2, right? So I can come over here and I could say this is 1/2, and then this is the square root of 3 over 2. So I now have my values that I need. So let's go back to cosine. Cosine is cosine, cosine. So, and I also recall, even if we don't do the I guess, we could say cosine is, what did we say cosine was? Cosine of theta was the x value. So the x value is this distance right here, and this distance right here is the square root of 3 over 2. So I'm going to type in the square root of 3 over 2, and I'm going to hope that I'm doing this correctly, because it's getting late. So the square root of 3 divided by, I'm going to tap to the right there, divided by 2. That's one way to type it. A better way would probably be in a fraction form. So let's do it that way. Square root of 3 divided by 2, and I better get my smiley faces, and there we go. So let's try another one. Right away, sine of 150. What's challenging about the sine of 150 is it's not in that first quadrant, but the technique should hopefully be the same. I have my ordered pairs. Sorry, I have my coordinate plane. I'll do my unit circle, and 150 is 90 plus 60, so I need to come up with a line that comes around about 60 degrees worth, because 90 and 60 make 150. And what that leaves me with is, I'll zoom in here, it leaves me with a 30 degree, make a dot, come straight down, and there's my right triangle, right? So I'm focused on this red right triangle right here, and sine is the y value. Okay, sine of theta is the y value. So I'm going to come over on the image, and my y value is how high this thing is. That's my y value. So that's all I really need to figure out in this shape. I'm going to fill in what I know. My radius is 1. I already know that the small side is 1/2, because if I double it, I get to the 1. We've kind of been through that already, and I think my answer should be 1/2. So let's check it out, and once again, let's see how we do. This is just another way to type it, and it's okay. All right, tangent. Now, tangent was sine over cosine, or y divided by x. So I have a little space on the left side, so let's give it a shot. So tangent of 225, let's see, 90 plus 180 plus 45 would give me 225. So I can kind of figure out where I am on my shape. I'm going to go ahead and do the same idea. I'm going to make myself a dot. It doesn't really matter because it's just a visual. Make myself a 90-degree turn, and then I'm going to remind myself that tangent is going to be the y over the x. All right? Well, let's fill in what we know. I know that this thing's a unit circle, so my radius is 1. If 1, remember how we had this pattern x square roots of 2, that was the rule. So if 1 equals x square roots of 2, I'm going to end up with the square root of 2 over 2 equals x, right? We rationalize the denominator, and we have x is the square root of 2 over 2. So this over here is the square root of 2 over 2, and this is the square root of 2 over 2. All right, well, that's easy. And that means let's go back to my highlighter. So my y value is this. That's a negative, right? Notice how it goes down. So I'm going to say negative square roots of 2 over 2. And my x value is, it's also negative. They're both negative, all right? So negative square roots of 2 over 2. Now, this is a nasty-looking fraction. It's got radicals in the top and complex fractions because fractions and fractions. And heck, there's even negatives thrown in for good measure. But look at what you're really dealing with. You're just dividing by one thing divided by itself. Anytime you divide one thing by itself, you're just going to get 1. So if I'm calculating this correctly, I'm just going to type 1 in, and I think I'm going to have it. So plain old number 1, look at that. Perfect. Now, to try to keep me honest here, I got another tangent function. Once again, you watch as much of these videos as you need, or come back to them if you need it. So there's my unit circle. There's my y and my x. I've got my 90, my 180, my 270, plus probably 45 more. And I could put 45s on both sides if that helps you a little bit. And that'll get me to 315. So I'm going to make my dot. I'm going to come down. I'm going to make my 90-degree corner. I'm going to remember that tangent is the y over the x. You're going to find that a lot of these numbers are the same as they were before. If this is 1, this is going to be the square root of 2 over 2, but it's down, so it's negative. And this is the square root of 2 over 2, but it's to the right, so it's positive, right? So this is the square root of 2 over 2, and this is negative square root of 2 over 2. So we're going to divide this thing out. Last time we divided the y, negative square roots of 2 over 2, by the x, square root of 2 over 2. There's still that ugly fraction. They're still the same, but you notice there's a negative on top but not on the bottom. So my answer better be -1, and I'm good to go. All right, so all that weirdness just ends up being -1, and now I'm moving with confidence. Now they throw one more tangent question at me. Let's check this one out, and then I'll cycle through 1 or 2 more examples only for those who need it. I'm going to do one more time, unit circle, 90 degrees. Takes me right up to this line right here. I'm making obnoxiously thick. So what I'm after is that dot right there, and tangent, remember, is y over x. Now the y value is how much it comes up. And we already know that because it's on the unit circle, so that's a 1. I don't have to do anything for that. And the x, because it doesn't move left or right, the x is actually 0. Well, 1 divided by 0 is undefined, so I hope I have an undefined option. And there it is, undefined and success, right? And you're going to see me be able to clear through that assignment pretty quick. I don't even know if it's going to let me get back into that assignment or not. I would think it should, but maybe I've done enough examples in making these videos here that it won't do it. This is tangent. We've already done tangent one more time. So this is the last one I'm going to do. Watch it if you'd like. Here comes tangent. All right, this one's the tangent of 60. So unit circle, 60 degrees is about 2/3 of the way up the first quadrant. So there's my 60. Neat things up a little bit. In tangent, I'm looking for, whoops, wrong tool. I'm looking for, let's see, tangent is y over x. So I'm looking for the y variable, that's this one, divided by the x value. I said variable, I should have said value. Like I said, it's getting late. So the y value divided by the x value will give me the tangent of 60. So let's figure out what we have here. I'm looking at that triangle. If this is the 30, and this is a unit circle, which it is, that side's 1. So that means this is 1/2, and this is the square root of 3 over 2, because it's just the 1/2 times the square root of 3. So square root of 3 over 2. So let's go ahead and use the y, which is the up and down number, right? The square root of 3 over 2. And the x is the 1/2, so 1/2. So we have the square root of 3 over 2 divided by 1/2, which is times the reciprocal 2 over 1. I can cancel out the 2's, and I get the square root of 3 over 1, which is the square root of 3. There's no negatives, so it should just be the square root of 3. And let's hope we wrap this video up with success. For those who are still hanging in there, I got a square root of 3 and success. All right, I wish you the best of luck. If you're following along with this video, you should have a great head start. Remember to draw your unit circles, make your triangles, and then most of all, just watch your positives and negatives. Remember this basic information back here in Notability again, that sine is the so, the cosine is the ca if you need it. Otherwise, you can use what you already know about the sine being the y value and the cosine being the x value. If you can remember that, that's actually probably a little bit better. So sine is the y value, and the cosine is the x value. If you've made it this long in the video, there's kind of the bonus hint. And then you might not even need the SOHCAHTOA at all. You could just remember the y and the x. But with that said, good luck, and remember tangent is y over x. All right, we'll see you on